The story started by showing a group of adventurers who are trying to open a locked door. The old wizard asked a man named Saito if he could really open the door. Saito answered yes, before taking out some lock-picking tools which made the whole group curious. He started trying to open the door. Although they are worried that Saito could activate the traps if he failed, they still chose to trust him. And before they could finish their conversation, Saito is done opening the locked door, which amazed the whole group. But to Saito it's just a simple task. However, there's another door behind, and this time it is also sealed with magic. He had to work with the wizard to open this door. After opening the door, the group rejoiced as they could finally see the treasure in front of them. Then Saito started to work on the treasure's lock with a visible smile on his face. The scene then changed, showing Saito opening another door. This time it's in the modern world. After opening the door, Saito gave the price for the service to the costumer. However, the customer accused him that he's trying to rip her off while insulting his job. The scene changed back to the present. Saito finally opened the treasure chest and he felt fulfilled doing the same job in this world compared to the previous one. However, the treasure chest is actually a mimic and it attacked him right after he unlocked the chest. But the armed warrior named Raelza killed the mimic before it could hurt Saito. While he was thanking Raelza, he noticed that her helmet was loose and he wanted to fix it. She was visibly reluctant, but she still agreed. She was amazed that a locksmith like Saito could do so much things, but Saito answered that it was expected of a handyman, as he also mentioned the other services he offered, from fixing bags, collecting trash, and even looking for lost dogs. She got excited hearing Saito talk about dogs. She thought Saito liked dogs like she do. It was obvious that she's attracted to Saito, but she seems to be worried about something. While the group was taking a break, Saito noticed that Morlock the wizard was acting strangely, so he asked the other two about Morlock. They mentioned about the huge level difference in their party before explaining that Morlock is a level 83 great wizard who once retired because of his forgetfulness. He had trouble remembering incantations for his spells, and there was even a time where he forgot that the party agreed to raid a dungeon, so he had to use his teleportation spell to catch up, but he ended up fusing with a golem. There was also a time where he forgot which party he's part of and joined the horde of zombies instead, as he thought he's not alive anymore. But even with his flaws, they do not overlook his good points. They still remembered that their party was once wiped out in the dungeon except for Morlock. But he dragged their body all the way to the church and sold all their equipments in order to revive them. Although Raelza was curious why her bikini armor is the only equipment Morlock didn't sell. The last member of their party is the divine magician, which is the fairy Lafanpan. She is a reliable healer, but she always expects to get paid for all the labors she offered, and she doesn't like getting things for free, even from her companions. While Saito was repairing Raelza's equipment, Raelza and Lafanpan was curious of the measurement he was using, so he explained that it is the units of his world, while asking what they are using in this world. Raelza answered that they are using Mandaraka for length and Lafanpan is about 1 Mandaraka. The three got curious what Mandaraka was based on. At the same time, Morlock suddenly showed up to answer their question. Morlock started explaining that, long time ago the founder of the kingdom, Mandaraka the first king, has a very long weenie, and had 300 children. And the scholars of the kingdom used the great king's weenie as the basis for the established unit for measuring length, which is 1 Mandaraka. Saito stared at Lafanpan, whose height is about 1 Mandaraka, and she could only cover her face in embarrassment. Jibungle, a dwarf, oddly has a high magical aptitude which is extremely rare for his race. However, he became a dwarf magician and he uses his durability as a dwarf to tank damage while he uses his magic to cause massive damage. The scene changed, showing a pair of adventurers. But oddly, the little girl is the vanguard who uses a massive axe as her weapon, while a muscular guy is a magician and the little girl make decisions for the party. While staying in the item shop, Saito was using an abacus and Mivina the item shop girl was surprised that he could use it. At the same time, a female warrior who's completely covered in armor entered the shop. After looking around a bit, she asked Mivina for medicinal herbs, and Saito noticed that it was Raelza after hearing her voice, so he approached her. However, Raelza denied it and tried to leave the shop, clumsily walking away. Both Saito and Mivina just watched the leaving Raelza while dumbfounded. Then it was revealed that Raelza entered the shop with a different full body armor because she was curious of Saito and Mivina's relationship. At the same time, Mivina was negotiating with a customer inside her shop, and after a short time she managed to buy the knife for 18 gold coins. After leaving the shop, the seller was celebrating as he thought he managed to earn a huge profit from tricking Mivina into buying a dull knife that he had only used his magic on to improve its appearance. Meanwhile, Mivina and Saito was checking the knife happily. They know that the knife's dull blade is just a dummy, and inside it is a blade made of mithril silver which is worth more than 300 gold coins. Raelza was still quietly watching the two from outside the shop. The scene changed, showing the inside of a dungeon. Then a monster suddenly attacked the party, which shocked Saito, causing him to fall. Morlock took action right away. He covered for Saito while chanting a spell meant to protect them. However, he forgot his incantations again, and it was Raelza who killed the monster to protect Saito. Lafanpan noticed that Raelza was only worried about Saito. Then Raelza asked Morlock if he should retire since his forgetfulness is getting worse. However, he refuted that the party would have a hard time without him, as Lafa could only use healing magic. But Lafa argued that she could use more than defensive spells. Because of this situation, Saito felt that he's being a burden to his party, so he asked Morlock to teach him magic. The group was having a rough time inside the dungeon as countless monsters were blocking their path, and Raelza couldn't handle all of them on her own. Morlock stepped in to help Raelza. He started his incantations right away while aiming at the monsters. However, like Raelza expected, he forgot about his incantations again before he could complete his spell. But before the monsters could reach them, Saito reminded him the last line of incantations necessary to activate his spell, and his spell was so powerful that it managed to kill all of the monsters blocking their path. Morlock praised Saito before suffering from his back pain again. Then Raelza asked Saito if he managed to memorize all of the incantations. Saito explained that although he can't use the spells himself, he still managed to memorize most of the incantations, and Raelza thought that it would be a great help to Morlock. The group were discussing whether to proceed or not in opening the treasure chest, although Raelza could take care of it if it's just another mimic. But if it's a different trap, it could be troublesome for the party, as they couldn't use magic in the treasure room. But after reaching this far, they still decided to open the treasure chest. Saito proceeded to open the chest. However, a trap activated, causing a pit to open underneath Saito, and he helplessly fell down the pit. Although he's not unscathed, Saito still managed to survive the fall due to the water at the bottom of the pit. Saito tried to treat his broken leg before falling down on his back due to pain. He tried to think of a way to get out of the pit, but he couldn't come up with any solution because they can't use magic. He had no choice but to helplessly accept his tragic fate as he recalled how badly he was treated at his previous world. However, he suddenly remembered his party, and when he was about to break down into tears, they showed up in the waterway beside him. Raelza explained that they followed the waterways to find him while asking about his condition. Then Morlock told him that they will never abandon him, while Raelza added that no one could replace him, which greatly touched Saito. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and look forward to the next part.